Hey everyone, I'm Joe and today it's time for me to do an update for my SFF award-winning book project. I started this project a year ago at the start of 2017 and the idea of it is relatively simple, and that is to read award-winning books out of 5 different awards, at least for the time being. And those awards are the Hugo Awards, the Nebula Awards, the Arthur C. Clarke Award, the Philip K. Dick Award, and finally the James Tiptree Jr. Award. Now, I created a Goodreads group to go along with this, so it could be discussed much easier, because otherwise anybody that wants to discuss it with me, there'd be an issue of having to arrange which social media program to use, or email, or whatever else, and it'd be kind of, frankly, a mess and awkward. So I thought just create a Goodreads group would be much simpler, and indeed that has worked quite well. There is also meant to be a monthly update video where I would be talking about the 1 or 2 books that I read each month. Now that happened for 2 months and then I stopped. People have asked me about how this project has been going and why the videos have stopped. I just thought I would eventually create this video what I'm doing now. And the reason that I stopped making the videos, these update videos every month, is quite simply, I realised after 2 months that it wasn't quite working for me personally to make these update videos for the books, because some of the books, they work for discussion, but for me to talk about on camera like this doesn't always really work. So I thought, rather than forcing myself to read about books that I'm not quite sure what to say, and it's just going to sound a bit of a mess, I just thought, no, I'd still continue with my award-winning books, but I'll do it within the group and forget the videos, because it's not that important. I want to read the books more than make videos about them in this particular circumstance. And so with this, I think I've been quite successful. I've read a large amount of really interesting books. Some of them have been frankly terrible, as you might expect. Some of them have been absolutely brilliant, and some have been somewhere in between. And what I'm going to do in a second is I'm just going to talk about a handful of books, 5 of them in particular, that have stood out to me in the last year. And from now on, I'm still not going to do this video monthly, but I will do it every half a year. So at the end of June, I will do another one of this, and at the end of the year in December, I'll do another one, and so on every year from now on, as long as this channel is active and I've still got books to read. As far as overall progress with the awards go, I'm actually doing quite well as well, particularly with the Hugo and Nebula. I'm getting those down quite nicely. The James Tiptree Jr. Award, I haven't really touched very much, because the books that have won that are frankly very difficult to get, and I don't know how to get most of them. So that really hasn't that much. It's dropped by a couple. There'll be a pie chart on screen which you can see, and for the record, I use a spreadsheet to create this pie chart, and I'll link a Google Docs version of this, which anybody else can happily use for their own use. Anyway, on to the 5 books that have stood out to me for the first year of my project. And the first of those are, and I will be only very briefly talking about each of these, Ammonite by Nicola Griffith. This explores gender, and the plot is quite complex in a way. It's an alien world where gender doesn't mean the same as it does to us. And it's one woman who goes there, she's a scientist, and she explores the world, gets to know the native people, as well as there's a military base in the world as well. And it's weird, but interesting, and it does explore gender in a very curious way. I really did enjoy this book. The next book that really stood out to me is The Time Ships by Stephen Baxter. This is an authorised sequel to The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. I wasn't a big fan of The Time Machine, but I am a much bigger fan of this, and indeed Stephen Baxter. And about 2 weeks or a week before I actually read this book, I met Stephen Baxter, and I was able to have a 10-minute conversation with him as well. So this book is kind of memorable, because I always think of this book in conjunction with that quite long conversation I had, where I was able to talk about H.G. Wells and his other books and such, which was really, really fun. This is far more, interesting, I found, than So I mean, the Time Machine I found quite basic, frankly. It didn't really work for me that well. This works for me much better, and also there's more physics in it, which I personally quite enjoyed. The third book that stood out to me is The Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Now this book is quite simply about humanity on a dying Earth scenario, and there is a generation ship heading away from Earth. The planet that they go to, however, they find has already got inhabitants, let's say, which has been put there against the colonists' wishes by an earlier probe, and there's problems with them settling on this world because of the inhabitants who are different, let's say. And yeah, he got some curious ideas, but it's really, really good. And Adrian Tchaikovsky has just announced that he's actually got the first draft for the sequel to this book written. So in another, year, maybe 2 years, there'll actually be in Children of Time 2, or whatever it's going to be called, which should be curious considering how this one ended. It really should, because this ended in a fairly good way. So how are they going to continue that? Curious. The fourth book that I really enjoyed and really stood out to me was Double Star by Robert A. Heinlein. Now, so far, Heinlein has been an author where his books are very much 50-50. I think I've read 4 of his books now. 2 of them I very much enjoyed, 2 of them I really disliked. This is one of the 2 that I enjoyed. This has a interesting way of looking at identity and about doing what you think you should do and what reasons you do that. I don't want to say too much because it's only quite thin, but I really did enjoy this, and it's got some very clever ideas in it as well, which I really did enjoy overall. And the 5th book that I read and stood out to me was The Sea and Summer by George Turner. Now this explores society, and in particular it explores the rich and poor divide and several other issues to do with the way we live now. Even though this is a future society, it explores things that are relevant right now and have always been relevant, and probably always pretty much will, unless we could actually, get over ourselves and actually work together for a change, which would be an achievement for us as a species. And it has some really interesting ideas and extremely good writing. And yeah, I just really would recommend this highly. Well, I would recommend all 5 of these overall really highly because they're all extremely good overall. I really did enjoy them. And there were many other books that I enjoyed as well, but these 5 stood out to me and I still remember them quite vividly for various reasons. And for that is actually it for this video. I will link the Goodreads group to go along with this project in the description box below. I will link the spreadsheet which I track my progress with for this, well, the public version of, and I'll also link my personal version of this spreadsheet so you can see how I'm doing if you're particularly bothered. And with that said, that is it for this video, so thank you for watching and I'll see you another day. Bye for now.